Hello and welcome back to apparently Patent Talk, or Patent Talk if you prefer. What we have today is US 484727A. And as you know, we will be reading out a patent/patent, depending on what you prefer. And we will be doing that in any moment now. Now, it reads, United States Patent Office, or Patent, Danielle Best, 00 San Luis Reno, Cal 11F, Orana, Gaz, capital G, capital A, lowercase s hyphen engine, or all capitals there, Spec no hyphen N, that was all capitals as well, forming part of the latter's patent, or patent, no 484,727, dated October 18, 1892. Application Alaya 01 Inu 10, 1891, serial no 395,811, open brackets, no modal, close brackets, to A capital Z1, whom it may concern. Be it known that 1. Danielle Best, a citizen, K.I. exclamation mark, T-H-E-I capital U-N-I-T-E-D stats, residing at San Luis, Alameda County, State of California, have invented an improvement in gas-engines, and I hereby declare the following to be a F-till clear and exact description of the same. My invention relates to certain improve me lats. Improve. This is all one word, but improve, and then a capital M E, capital T A T S, la engines, which are propelled by the tow explosion of A6 inflammable vapor or gas, and in which the piston moving the engine cylinder first serves as a pump to draw a charge of to draw a charge of the explosive gas or vapor into the cylinder, and after returning to compress the vapor in the end of the cylinder, is again propelled to the opposite end of the stroke by the ignition and explosion of the confined vapor. It consists in details of construction, which will be more fully explained by reference to the accompanying drawings, in which figure, one word there, 1 is a side elevation of my machine, Fig. 2 is an end view, the cylinder head being removed. Figs 3 and 4 are details instructing the trow positions of the electrodes. A is T ampersand cylinder of my engine. B is the crankshaft a piston is ritted to reciprocate within the cylinder and has a piston rod, a side travelling upon guides, and a connecting rod extending 3O between said slide and the crank upon the J shaft B. This being the usual construction by which a rotary motion is communicated to the crank-shaft. D. D is a pipe leading from the reservoir containing the gas or vapour and the material from which it is generated. E is a valve, which in the present case is the form known as This is in not hyphens, those things that go up to indicate that it's a mark of quotation. A quotation mark. Puppet valve, ending quotation marks, and which is kept closed by means of a spring F surrounding its stem and holding it down upon its seat with a sufficient tension to prevent the passage of the gas or vapour, except when, in other passages or openings into the cylinder are closed, and ampersand the piston is moving forward to the front end of the cylinder. At such times, the vacuum produced in the cylinder by the movement of the piston is sufficient to overcome the tension of the spring F, and allow the vapour or gas to pass through the valve and on into the cylinder. Houstpipe auspassage, open brackets, shown in the present case upon the opposite blade of the cylinder from the inlet pipe and connectianas in. The former case with the cylinder near to, that is the word near and the number 2, its rear end, close brackets. H, or H, is a puppet valve which closes the exhaust opening, this valve being held down upon its seat by a spring one, which it keeps closed when it is not otherwise acted upon. When this valve is clipped it will be -60 fest that when the engine is running, which it's the word running but without the G at the end and then a hyphen, the reciprocations of the piston will sill, close brackets, 151 capital Y, draw air in through the exhaust D-pipe G and force it out again. The valve E, which supplies the explosive vapour, remaining closed at all such times. If, however, the valve H is temporarily closed, it, %ill be manifest that the movement of the piston will draw a charge of explosive vapour through the pipe D. I read that wrong, sorry. Will draw a charge of explosive vapour through the pipe D and valve E into the cylinder, and the return of the piston, while the valve 11 is still closed, will impress the gas, press this gas between the P, I, stion and the end of the cylinder in the usual manner, and it is then exploded by an electrical device or igniter, which will be hereinafter described. The value H is then again opened to allow the exhaust of the waste products, and if the engine is running at too high a rate of speed, it will remain open, and nothing but air will be pumped into the cylinder and forced out 80 again until the speed of the engine is reduced sufficiently to allow the spring to close again, the valve H, after it is released from the governing in space. And there's this floating dot there. Mechanism. If you prefer. Mechanism by which this valve is actuated is driven directly from the main shaft B as follows. Upon the shaft B is a fixed pi inion J, and this engages with a correspondingly toothed gear-wheel K, the diameter of which is such that the gear-wheel will make go one revolutio. There's a thingy there. What's it here? It's like a speech mark, but with half of the marks that a speech mark has. Oh, it's an apostrophe. There we go. Revolution apostrophe 2 each 4 strokes of the piston and corresponding revolutions of the L shaft. Upon the shaft L of this gear wheel is fixed a double cam M, which revolve with the shaft. Camshafts are very interesting. You can see in the pictures there that if you can see the pictures, I can see the first picture, and I can see what appears to be what I would describe as a governor. I believe that's what it's talking about. Yes, I would describe it as a governor. But here we go. Oh, I shall take just a sip of my drink there. Just one moment. Refreshing. N is a Kundalung rod, having an and trificatonal roller 0 journaled at the rear end, and projecting to one side so as to stand in line with the cams M, and when the rod is drammy into position SP, that the cams will engage the -03 roller. It will be moved backwards at each contact with the cams, there burying 2 of the EAM _ points situated at opposite Q. It will be seen that under these conditions the Cons93I necting rod N will be moved by I cams at each half revolution of the shaft L and gear K, and at each second revolution of the engine shaft. Tile con nectine rod N has its op posit end united with one arm of the bowl crank lever P wibber, each is for med as chauffeur at Q. The other arm P' of this lever or lever stands just beneath the stem F of the valve H, and it will be manifest that the reciprocation of IO, the connecting rod N, produced by the action of the cams M, will be communicated to the bell crank lever or lever P, and th throw it will act upon the valve stem F, and at each movement will temporarily open the valve T5H, allowing the spring to close it again as the cams release the connecting rod. The slot in the rod N is of sufficient diameter to allow the shaft L to pass through, and in the present case it serves as a guide, allowing the connecting rod N to be reciprocated by the action of the cams. But I do not limit myself to this construction. Oh, that's interesting there. When the engine is running slowly or at its normal speed, the valve H being closed at the instant when the Z5, the piston, commences to move from the rear end of the cylinder, the piston will draw a charge of gas or explosive vapour through the valve E, the vacuum produced by its movement overcoming the tension of the Clio 3O spring F, as before described. As the piston makes 2 repercussions while th space E cam shaft T capital L is machino, a rev : 61 Lucian, it will be manifest that EEXHAUST valve will remain closed until the piston has returned and compressed the charge which have been drawn into the end of the cylinder. At the instant when the piston is ready to commence another stroke, the electrical igniter acts to ignite the charge, and its explosion forces the piston to the end of its stroke. At this instant, the exhaust valve is opened by the action of one of the cams M, and the waste products of combustion are discharged by the return of the piston to the rear end of the cylinder, the valve being instantly closed again by the action of the spring I as soon as the connecting rod N is released from the cam which H6TS opened it. This operation continues as long as the engine is running within the speed to which it is normally adjusted, but whenever it runs at too high a rate of speed apostrophe the, or the apostrophe operation of the cams upon, the valve is arrested in such a manner as to hold the exhaust valve open and half a speech mark apostrophe and apostrophe allow air to be pumped apostrophe in and forced out again by the movement of the engine piston, while the supply valve at E remains closed. This control is effected by a governor. Oh, here we go, the governor capital R, which may be of any suitable or apostrophe S instruction. Its stem connects with 6-0, a pivoted swinging or movable arm, S, one end of which is F, U1 crumbed, AF hyphen, capital R, so, no, that wasn't a hyphen, sorry, that was an apostrophe, AF apostrophe, capital R, so I'm still not used to this apostrophe, it's got added into the English language, so I call it English, but anyway, so, apostrophe TFI for underscore T, TBE, IRM moves about the fulcrum, and the offy wend is adapted to englay a ing, capital U, which projects from the reciprocating apostrophe rod N. When the engine is running loosely, the point of the pull $sign is raised above the aug U, and the reciprocation of the rod N and its annected parts 1184727 is regularly percouded by the action of the cams M before described, but whenever the speed of the engine becomes too great, the action of the governor, there we go, pushes down the point of the pull S until it engages the in, capital U. The position of this lug is such that when it is drawn back far enough to be engaged by the point apostrophe of the pullus, the connecting rod N will be held in such a position that the cams M cannot engage the roller 0, and consequently no reciprocation of the rod N will occur, and the valve H will be held open by the action of apostrophe the bell crank lever, or lever, depending on what you prefer, upon its sew stem. This valve being held open, it will be manifest that air will free to flow through the place of the speed of space the sixing, and the governor will gradually be reduced, and the spool S raised until at is 1 re of the 6 U, when the spring I on the valve stem V will AG $in act to close the valve H at the TH E open question, not question marks, what's those hyphens? There's like a hyphen, but there's two of them. Speech marks. Same go. Time drawing underscore illil, connecting hyphen rod N back to the point where the roller 6 may be engaged by the cams M, and the valve operated again, and the valve again operated in conjunction with the hyphen movements of the piston so as to allow explosive vapor hyphen 2B drawn in through the supply hyphen valve. By this construction and the no-feel control of the externast instead of the supply valve, I am 6N hyphen, able to regulate the speed of my ingring with great nicety and to cause it to. One with great XOO steadiness, in order to ignite the chifara of vapour which is admitted in to the engine. I may eniploy any suitable form of electrical spark hyphen producing device. In the apostrophe present case, I have shown 7A toss, but with the last S there, or the S there being capital, post and extending into the cylinder and having a point B projecting from one aid. This point is insulated from the engine and is connected with one of the connecting hyphen wires from a battery conveniently situated with the re hyphen ZZO hyphen lation to the engine. The or the sixth year conducting hyphen apostrophe, there we go, wire is connected with an oscillating shaft for semicolon extending into the cylindrid apostrophe ear and subsequently insulated from it. This shaft is caused to oscillate by means of an apostrophe an arm D, one end of which XI capital S is fixed to the shaft and the other connected rod E. This rod E is connected with a crank upon the gear-wheel K and is thus reciprocate in unison with the revolutions of the gear K. That pause there was for the colon there. As the gear K120 makes dn revolution to 4 of the crankshaft, it will be seen that this rod and its big devices will be apostrophe reciprocated apostrophe in each direction at every second revolution of the crankshaft. These are 6 revolutions conforming to 125 the admissions of the gas or explosive 6 vapour into the cylinder. In O capital R L E R T 6 to produce a spark at each of these movements, I capital E capital L capital T L X to the nipper end hyphen not hyphen apostrophe end apostrophe of the shaft CA warped blade F, the end of which projects toward one H, projecting I3P. Pin B. This blade is made elastic and is twist hyphen apostrophe ed, so pass to stand at an angle like a propeller blade. It will be manifest that when the C capital P hyphen rotation of the connecting apostrophe hyphen rod and the 484,727 lation of the shaft C carries in one direction, its front edge will pass above pin B, and its elasticity, or elasticity, will allow it to move over the pin until its opposite edge passes the pin, producing a spark at that instant by breaking the connection to the battery and wires. Just going to take another sip here. Very nice. So far to me, this sounds very much like your fairly typical, in concept, I suppose, not necessarily in execution, fairly typical in concept 4-stroke internal combustion engine. This one does not say whether it is using any particular fuel. It says that it uses fuel, but I'm not sure which fuel it uses. Now, of course, I prefer steam over this, but I do understand that the basic principle of the 4-stroke engine is being here described. Having thus described my invention, what one claim as new and desire to secure by letters, patent or patent, is 1. An igniting device for a-as-engine, consisting of opposing fixed and movable electrodes whose meeting ends overlap. One of said electrodes being formed of a warped 5-0 elastic plate adapted to yield upon contact with the opposing electrode and sweep across the upper and lower surfaces of the said opposing electrode in planes transverse of its line of projection. 2. In a gas-engine, the electrical igniting device consisting of a stationary insulated pin or finger connected with one of the electrodes, an insulated shaft with mechanism connecting it with the engine shaft, whereby 6-0 it is oscillated, and having an elastic plate having a warped surface fixed to the inner end of said shaft and projecting toward and in line with the opposing electrode and beyond the plane of its end, whereby said elastic plate is adapted to sweep across the overlapping end of the opposing fixed electrode in planes at right angles to the line of projection of the fixed electrode on one of its oscillations, and to return in like manner across the opposite face of the fixed electrode on the reverse oscillation, substantially as herein described. In a gas-engine, a cylinder reciprocating cylinder piston, crank shaft, an inlet valve, which through the explosive mixture is drawn by the movement of the piston, an independent spring closed exhaust valve, a cam shaft, and Z intermediate mechanism, and a governor by which the exhaust valve is opened and its movements regulated, an igniter consisting of 8-0, a fixed and oscillating electrode, a crank upon the cam shaft, and connections, substantially as described, between it and the movable electrode, and gearing upon the cam shaft and the main engine shaft, whereby the exhaust valve is opened and a spark produced by the igniter at each second revolution of the main shaft. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my band. Witnesses: W. S. Peters, A. L. Toffamal, R. Daniel Best. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just get a quick look at the drawings. Only one drawing here, I'm afraid. Oh no, slightly more. So what I can see here in the drawings, now this is usually something I don't usually do. Parts of this I understood. Parts of this I understand as being a 4-stroke engine. There's a lot of bits that I'm not intimately familiar with, but what it does appear to be is a 4-stroke internal combustion engine that is ignition, where combustion is ignited through an electrical current or spark instead of compression. You see, this is I don't remember whether it's an Otto cycle engine. This is not really my area of expertise, ladies and gentlemen. But it is not the diesel engine that would use, well, diesel, I suppose, but of course, more importantly, compression, where we get the compression of the gas or fuel. Well, at this point, in a modern engine, of course, it would be vaporized into a gas at this point. This says that it could be a vapor, it could be a gas. I can't remember all of that bit. But once you have injected the fuel, you'll inject that into aerosolized, and in this engine, it would be ignited at a point as dictated by the camshaft. That is with an electrical current, which expands the gas further and pushes the piston down. Whereas in a diesel cycle engine, again, not my field of expertise, so if I'm making any mistakes here, I apologise. But what you would have there is injected fuel. This is likely. I don't remember where. Did it say where the fuel was being injected? I'm not seeing whether it was. It said whether or not it was being injected pre-cylinder or in the cylinder. You have to assume it's port injection instead of direct injection. Direct injection is more common with the diesel there. Regardless of whatever there, we would have the valves closing, the piston coming up, having been driven by momentum and an explosion on the opposite side, pushing up, and thereby compressing what is in there, the diesel, I suppose, and the air-fuel mixture, until it gets so compressed and so hot that fuel ignites due to its temperature and compression rather than a spark. Now, this can lead, of course, to knock, which is something that is not desirable, but there can be less complexity, there can be... I don't know. Like I say, I'm not a huge fan of the internal... Well, I don't have a problem with the internal combustion engine specifically. I mean, there's the Napier engines, of course, the Deltics. Glorious things. Those are, of course, opposed piston designs, which is quite interesting, because, of course, it had three crankcases. Now, you can have variable camshafts there, but no, we had several banks. It's fascinating. You should look it up. If I haven't already covered it, I may have already covered there. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this patent, or patent, depending on how you say things. Do check back now and then, and do tell me what you'd like to see, or rather hear, from this series further on, and so forth. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm going to press the large mechanical device that stops this recording, and I will go. Bye-bye.